Hi everybody and welcome to the Bad Girlfriend Championships. On this channel, we've held the Bad Boyfriend Championships before, where we had Ted from How I Met Your Mother going head to head with Ross from Friends to see who would win the battle of the world's worst boyfriend. Today, we're back at the championships, looking at who is the worst girlfriend out there. Now let me say, I went through about a dozen TV shows that I watch regularly trying to find some bad girlfriends, but I could only find just one person who is truly deserving of this title. A person who only needed one relationship to end up at the World Championships. And that person is the ever so terrible Jan Levinson from The Office. So today, going up against Jan, we have Jan. Specifically, we have Evil Jan versus Crazy Jan, because there is no other worthy opponent for Miss Levinson than herself. Miss Levinson has years of training under her belt in the sports of domestic control and using condescension as a love language. But before we go into the stiff battle between Jan's evil side and her crazy side, let's mention a few other bad girlfriends who are awful, but unfortunately not strong enough to stand against Jan. First, we have Karen from How I Met Your Mother. She was Ted's on-again, off-again college girlfriend who showed no real regard for him, was incredibly pretentious, and frequently cheated on him. Then we have Paige from Pretty Little Liars, who was Emily's girlfriend. The reason she's here is because prior to dating Emily, she was competitive and rude to her. She even went as far as to try and drown Emily. Sometimes I don't understand TV shows writers need to pair characters with partners who've treated them poorly before. Anyway, finally, let me mention Jeanette, who was another one of Ted's girlfriends from How I Met Your Mother. Jeanette stalked Ted and also started a fire at his university to meet him again. She also destroyed Ted's apartment, refused to be broken up with, and was just overall insane. But let's also remember, Ted did some sucky things to other women, so it's probably the universe kind of giving him a taste of his own medicine. Back to Jan. Jan started out as Michael's firm, professional, and put-together boss, but after she first kissed Michael, she started transforming into something else. In the first round, let's kick things off with Crazy Jan. In the season 4 episode Dinner Party, we find out how truly crazy Jan was. I mean, we'd always seen glimpses of her insanity, but in Dinner Party, you really see the full extent of it. We discover that she has space issues and makes Michael sleep on a tiny ottoman at the end of their bed, instead of in the actual bed. So Michael had to crawl onto that tiny thing and sleep there every night. Can you imagine the back pain he must have had? We also find out that she has zero self-awareness and she's been making a bunch of smelly candles which she thinks smell fantastic and tries to get Michael's friends to invest in. On top of that, she does bizarre dances in front of guests to Hunter's song, which Michael hates. And she also condescendingly spanks Michael's bum in front of his guests and co-workers because he didn't put away the camera in their bedroom before the guests arrived. We'll talk more about this camera in another round. By the end of the night, she'd also broken Michael's treasured plasma TV and had police called on her. On the other hand, we have Evil Jan. At this same dinner party, she gave Pam death stares all night because she thought Pam was in love with Michael. Michael was also terrified the entire dinner that Jan might try to poison him, and I can see why. I wouldn't really put it past Jan to lose her mind and do something like that. And in the shocker of all shockers, we discover that in the past she had made Michael get and reverse 3 separate vasectomies because she kept on changing her mind about whether she wanted kids or not. Michael has his flaws, but imagine the toll on the poor guy. In this round, Evil Jan wins. If you're enjoying this video and want to see more stuff like this, why not just subscribe? In round 2, we have Crazy and Evil Jan battle it out in Jan and Michael's domestic situation. Let's talk about Crazy Jan again. Jan looks down on Michael so much so that when they first start dating, she describes her fears of getting into a relationship with Michael by saying, by dating Michael, she might collapse in on herself like a dying star. So she's a star, and Michael is just this thing that would kill this star. I mean, come on, girl. Later on, after they've been dating for a while and they've moved in together after she lost her job, Jan disregards Michael's input in decorating and refurbishing his own house. She also recklessly spends Michael's money to the point where Michael is in so much debt that he gets so depressed and so overwhelmed enough to try and flee town. On the other hand, evil Jan was constantly humiliating Michael. She once had Michael's very personal and private diary entered into court. As bad as this is, in round 2, crazy Jan wins. In this next round, let's talk about Michael and Jan's intimate life. After they just went public with their relationship, crazy Jan once told Michael that dating him publicly made her less attracted to him. So basically, she was attracted to the sneaking around, not to him. It's insane she actually told him that. Another thing crazy Jan did is that after their first breakup, Jan used her boob job to lure Michael back in. Come on, Michael, why would you fall for something like this? Anyway, on to evil Jan again. Remember the bedroom camera we mentioned in round 1? Well, Jan used to record her intimate encounters with Michael to discuss with her therapist. Let that sink in. What kind of a person does this? Also, what kind of a therapist engages in this behavior? Who gave this therapist a license? We need answers. Jan also doesn't respect their safe word in the bedroom and makes Michael do things he's uncomfortable with. That's terrible. Evil Jan wins this one. In the final round, this is a big one, we have the baby issue and a few other miscellaneous issues. In this one, it's difficult to separate crazy Jan and evil Jan because it all seems both crazy and evil. But anyway, let's get into it. Jan more than likely had an affair with her much younger assistant, Hunter, while dating Michael. Also, earlier on, she is jealous when Michael dates Carol, even though she'd been rejecting him and refusing to date him. And later on, she's also jealous and tries to stop Michael from dating Holly, even though she couldn't treat Michael right and was pregnant with a sperm donor baby. Speaking of this sperm donor baby, Jan got pregnant by a sperm donor while in a relationship with Michael, even though she knew he wanted kids, but she'd had him have 3 vasectomies. Let me repeat, she had him have multiple vasectomies, then went ahead to have a baby with a sperm donor instead. Jan is a total head case. After Michael finds out about her pregnancy, she has zero regard for Michael's feelings. She even has the nerve to invite him to her prenatal classes, even though it's not his baby and she'd been inseminated behind his back. In spite of all of this, Michael is supportive and even starts preparing to support her during childbirth, but she gives birth without telling him and just shows up at the office with baby Astrid. Imagine Michael's shock. He thought she hadn't given birth yet, only for her to show up with the whole baby that he didn't know about. Whew, this is insane. So we've gone through all of Jan's antics, the crazy ones, the evil ones, and the ones that are crazy evil or an evil kind of crazy. It's now time to decide who wins in this tough competition. Is it crazy Jan or evil Jan? Drum roll, please. Well, I genuinely cannot tell you who won here, but I can tell you who lost. And it's Michael Scott.